Hello guys, welcome all of you back with our database management system question discussion. Today we are going to discuss our question set number 12. So let's get started. The first question says create a customer table to register customers for this software. Follow the instruction below to create this table. And here we have our instruction to create our customer table, and here we have our column names, data types and data lengths. In the first column, we have defined it as the primary key of this table and we have marked it as a auto increment column. So let's go and create this. We can create this table using two methods. One is using a query and the second one is using manual method. When we create this using a query, first we need to define what database this table is used. In here we have defined the database as Next Mobile DB. After that we can insert our create query. First we need to give the table name and we have given it as customer, and then the first column, and we have given its data type as int, and we have defined that column as a primary key and we have defined it as a auto increment column. After that, in here we have insert our first name column, last name column, gender column, street number 1 column, street 2 column, and city column, contact number column, and status column. Here we have inserted data types for these columns, and then in here we have our data lengths for these columns. So let's go and create this table. After entering the query in here, we can click on this run button. After successfully executing this button, when we refresh our database, here you can see we have our newly created table. When we double click on this, here we have our column names, data types and data lengths, and the first column has been marked as a primary key and it is a auto increment column. So let's go back. In the second question, it says create a table called Supplier to register the suppliers of this software. Follow the instruction below to create this table, and they have given us the relevant instructions, and the table name is Supplier, and here we have our column names, and the first column has been marked as a primary key and it should be auto increment. Then in here we have our data types, and in here we have our data lengths. We can create this table using two methods. First one is using a query and the second one is using a manual method. When we create a table using a query, first we need to define our database and then we can say to create a table, and we have given this table name as supplier. Then we can insert our first column and we have defined it as a primary key and it is a auto increment column. After that, here we have our second column as first name and then last name, number, street 1, street 2, city, contact number, email and status as the column names. Then in here we have our data types, and then in here we have our data lengths. So let's go and create this table. After entering the query, we can click on this run button. Then we can refresh our database. As you can see, here we have our newly created table as supplier. When we double click on this supplier table, here we can see our column names, data types and data lengths. The first column has been marked as a primary key and it is an auto increment column. So let's go back. So guys, that's all for today. In the next video, let's discuss question set number 13. Until then, have a nice day.